everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. More arts and entertainment facilities are looking into how they can open up. However, there has been a slight uptick in COVID cases in the state. Now that it is spring, there is sunlight coming through this very dark pandemic tunnel. But we must remain vigilant and stay safe. This episode will be discussing the changes going on and how Massachusetts is recovering. Plus, I'll be giving a history discussion on Williams College. First, it's time for this week's trivia question, which will be answered at the end of the Williams segment. This week's question is, how many Academy Award winners attended Williams College? Now, for this week's local entertainment headlines. Massachusetts COVID numbers have slightly increased, but there are new rules and regulations on travel. These rules could change depending on the state's numbers. For instance, the July 2020 travel order that required people entering Massachusetts from many states to fill out a form, quarantine for 10 days, and test negative for COVID-19 will no longer be in place. Instead, a new order encourages people to quarantine upon arrival in Massachusetts if they have been away for 24 hours. This does not apply to fully vaccinated visitors. Also, people can now travel to states that are allowing outside visitors without quarantining. This includes states such as New York. Massachusetts is also increasing capacity limits. Event venues and public settings will rise to 100 people indoors and 150 people outdoors. And major sporting events for teams like the Red Sox, Celtics, and Bruins will be allowing fans as well. For private residencies, caps will remain at 25 people outside and 10 people inside. Additionally, overnight summer camps will be allowed to open. Exhibition and convention halls will be able to operate to the gathering limits, and dance floors will be permitted at weddings and other events. Businesses like bars and nightclubs, however, will remain closed until a later point in Phase 4, for which a date has not yet been announced. Lastly, beginning on April 19th, the general public can now receive the COVID-19 vaccine. All Massachusetts residents can register to book an appointment by visiting mass.gov/COVID-vaccine. Appointments will be based on eligibility and available appointments nearby. Please note that depending on vaccine supply, it could take weeks to be notified that an appointment is available at a location. Information on the COVID pandemic and the vaccine is always changing. So visit mass.gov for more information and keep watching WWHEN. Businesses are making clear steps towards ensuring that their 2021 seasons will be going on even with all the restrictions. The Jacob's Pillow Dance Festival is one of these venues. The company hopes to hold in-person events this summer while renovating the famed Tedstone Theater. This comes after a fire devastated the Doris Duke Theater in 2020 and rendered it unusable. Officials were unable to determine a cause for the fire. In a press release, Jacob's Pillow Artistic Director Pamela Tacey said, quote, "The Pillow has endured despite experiencing the toughest year in our history, with the cancellation of Festival 2020 and the tragic loss of the Doris Duke Theater. We put these losses in the context of all the tragedy our country and the world has experienced this past year, end quote. The Multi-Platform Dance Festival will take place from June 30th through August 29th. It will feature in-person outdoor performances from leading dance artists across many different genres, and will feature talks, classes, exhibitions, and site-specific works. Additionally, there will be virtual performances for those who do not feel comfortable going to the dance festival in person. Specific works have not yet been announced. As for the Tedstone Theater, Teichi said, quote, "There is still so much more to do, but with the support of our community, I'm confident that we will complete the final chapter of our plan, the Tedstone Theater renovation, in time for our 90th anniversary in 2022, end quote. Renovations to the theater will include a new orchestra pit, enhanced artist accessibility backstage, a new air conditioning/ventilation system, an increase of stage depth by 10 feet, and a new stage house with additional dressing rooms and wardrobe spaces, just to name a couple of the changes. Continuing our discussion of businesses opening up, the Boston Symphony Orchestra is potentially performing, or anticipating potentially performing, before a live audience this summer. It would be the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic silenced it 13 months ago. This comes during an extremely challenging time for the company, which is currently under a leadership change, as President Mark Volpe is retiring and will be replaced by Gail Samuel, who will become the first female president in the Boston Symphony Orchestra's history. It is important to note that Tanglewood will not be open in May or June. This means that the traditional, non-classical preseason lineup won't be presented at that time, and Berkshire County high schools and colleges will not be able to hold their graduations there. Additionally, the organization decided to temporarily suspend the popular artist concert sales until there is more definitive information about the season. In a statement, outgoing President Mark Volpe said, quote, "Time is our friend, we hope, but with this pandemic, you can't absolutely have any guarantees. So we're going to begin activity in mid-July, with a few things in August. We're trying to keep it as simple as we can. We're modeling different things, and we haven't locked into anything yet," end quote. Despite the struggles the orchestra is facing, likelihood that there will be a Tanglewood season is a welcome news, not just to music lovers, but also to the hospitality industry, since the concert venue is the engine that drives the county's vital tourism trade. Stay tuned to WWHEN for updates on the 2021 season. Concluding our segments on how arts and entertainment facilities are starting back up after their difficult 2020, Teens Act and Kids Act at Barrington Stage Company in Pittsfield will be holding their camps in person after they were forced to go virtual for the 2020 season. Teens Act is for children ages 12 through 14 and focuses on building performance skills through ensemble-based work, improvisation techniques, and individualized coaching. Here, students will create an original musical piece with peers to be performed on the final day of the program, whereas Kids Act is for children ages 7 through 11. It's very similar to Teens Act, but focuses more on building acting and communication skills through theater games, and it's good for young children who have an interest in the stage. These camps will be run differently than they have in the past. Both Teens Act and Kids Act will be held as 2 separate 3-week camps. This will allow the company to focus their attention fully on one group of young people, to maintain a more contained pod-style environment with one group of campers at a time, and most importantly, to put more energy into creating the best pieces of original musical theater that they possibly can. Teens Act will run from June 28th through July 16th, while Kids Act will run from July 26th through August 13th. Tuition for both camps costs $750. Information on registration is still pending. If you have any questions, please visit the websites shown here. Have you ever wanted to experience art in a way that doesn't involve just sight, but other senses as well? Mass MOCA is going to be presenting a unique experience called Auditory After Hours. Auditory After Hours gives visitors a chance to engage with art in an all-new way. Visitors can see and reflect on Mass MOCA's most popular art while listening to music, and this music will affect the room around it, creating different colors as well. The band performing is La Mata. They are a high-energy dance band with members from both South America and New York, bringing Latin flavor with an irresistible spirit and universal appeals that knows no bounds. Mass MOCA Auditory After Hours will be taking place every Saturday throughout April. Tickets for this event cost $30 for adults, $18 for kids ages 6 through 16, and $10 for members of Mass MOCA. There will be 3 half-hour sessions starting at 7 o'clock p.m., 7:30 p.m., and 8 o'clock p.m. Please bring your own smartphone, Wi-Fi listening device, or headphones for the best listening experience. Patrons must wear masks and have their e-tickets ready for scanning, and all events at Mass MOCA are accessible to all audience members. Please contact boxoffice@massmoca.org for more information. Spring has officially begun. And what would spring be without some festivals to celebrate the season? One of the many events going on in Berkshire County is the Daffodil and Tulip Festival at Naumkeag in Stockbridge. At this event, you can stroll through 8 acres of the world-renowned gardens, decorated with over 130,000 daffodils, tulips, and minor bulbs. The 44-acre estate in the heart of Stockbridge will come to life with the colors and spirit of spring, with a variety of blooms, containers, displays, and decorations against the backdrop of stunning views of Monument Mountain and the Berkshire Hills. There will be a variety of programs, including horticultural tours, workshops, art classes, and fun activities for the kids. This event will take place throughout April and May and is located at 5 Prospect Hill Road in Stockbridge. Tickets cost $15 for non-members and $9 for members on a weekday, $20 for non-members and $12 for members on a weekend, $5 for non-member children regardless of date, and $3 for member children regardless of date. You must purchase your tickets in time slots, and late and early arrivals will not be accommodated. And inclement weather will cancel the event. It's now time for RT's favorite films. And this week, we'll be focusing on a film franchise, the Divergent film series. This is based off a series of books written by author Veronica Roth. It is set in the future, where society has been divided into 5 factions. Candor, whose traits include honesty, abnegation, pureness, dauntless, fearlessness, amity, peace, and erudite, knowledge. Every year, 16-year-olds must make the decision on whether to remain in their birth faction or join another one. This is where our lead character Triss comes in. During an aptitude test prior to her selection, she learns that she is part of a 6th faction, one that is considered to be very dangerous. Divergent. Someone who is divergent has traits of all 5 of the factions. Triss leaves her abnegation faction to join the dauntless faction, while keeping her divergent status a secret. And the series focuses on the consequences of her actions, the dangers that these factions hold, and the truth about what it really means to be divergent, as well as a love story between Triss and Dauntless leader 4. The Divergent movie franchise began in 2014 with the same titled movie. It was a major success, earning just over $150 million in the United States alone. The next year, Insurgent came out. It earned slightly less, but still made a robust $130 million. The final movie, Allegiant, on the other hand, was a surprise disappointment. It only made over $66 million, failing to make back its budget. There were plans to make a 4th movie called Ascendant, but producers ultimately decided to cancel it after the disappointment of Allegiant. So why do I love the Divergent series? Before I explain why, my love for these movies is only for the Divergent and Insurgent movies. As Triss, Shailene Woodley is spot on, especially with her inner strength and the action scenes as well. The first 2 adaptations, Divergent and Insurgent, are very similar to their respective books. They didn't change much and kept a lot of what made the books so interesting. One of the things that made them so interesting was the theme of them. We have the right to choose our own destiny, not just what our parents' legacies were. We can follow our own path. It's a very uplifting message in comparison to the many young adult adaptations that are out there. The 3rd movie, Allegiant, on the other hand, has several problems. But the major problem was they added in many things that weren't in the book, while also removing many important aspects as well. This creates a problem for those who read the books, and those who didn't will be confused as well. Thankfully, the Insurgent movie doesn't end on a cliffhanger. So, if you want, you can act as though Allegiant never happened, and pretend the series is only 2 movies long. It's now time for this week's history portion of WWHEN. This week, we'll be traveling to Williams College, one of America's most well-respected liberal arts schools. It has ranked first in every U.S. News and World Report's rankings of national liberal arts colleges every year since 2004. And alumni have earned 9 Pulitzer Prizes. 71 alumni have become members of the United States Congress. And President James A. Garfield graduated there as well, just to name a few. Williams's college history started off in humble roots. As discussed on the last WWHEN, it is named after Colonel Ephraim Williams, Jr. Williams was a soldier and landowner who was killed in the French-Indian War in 1755. No known photographs of Mr. Williams exist, and nobody knows why either. In his will, he gave a significant sum to the town of Williamstown on two conditions. One, that the town would be named after him, and two, that a free school would be established in his honor. Both of the conditions were met, but the free school didn't last long. It was eventually transformed into Williams College. By 1815, the school was struggling. There were only 2 buildings and 58 students. In fact, Williams' Board of Trustees voted to move part of the college to Amherst, Massachusetts, under a new name, Amherst College. This created an academic and athletic rivalry between the two schools that remains in place today. President Edward Dorr Griffith is considered by many to be the savior of the college. He helped install several new majors and created the academic dress which is worn by students at graduations throughout the United States today, in order to show equalities between the rich students and the poor students. As Williams's reputation grew, many changes were made to its education system. Fraternities, long considered a burden to the college, were phased out beginning in 1962, and coeducation, a college with both men and women, started in 1970, both in students and in leadership roles. But it wasn't until 2018, however, that a female became Williams's president. In July of that year, Maud Mandel began her tenure as the 18th president in the school's history, a position that she maintains today as of this writing. Williams's sports teams are known as the Eeps, and they are named after the previously mentioned Ephraim Williams. Their mascot is a purple cow, a reference to Williamstown's farming history. Varsity sports at Williams began in 1859, when Williams lost to their rival Amherst in the first ever college baseball game. Williams is one of 39 colleges that founded the NCAA, the driving force for American college athletics. In 1961, Williams College banned its schools from participating in athletic championships after unruly celebrations following a basketball playoff win. When it formed the New England Small College Athletic Conference, or NESCAC, in 1971, the other 10 colleges that joined the conference followed Williams's ban. The ban was lifted prior to the 1993-1994 college season in all sports, except football. With the postseason ban no longer in place, Williams has earned 37 national championships in multiple sports, most recently in women's soccer and women's indoor track and field, and has been awarded the Director's Cup for overall Division III athletic excellence 21 times, a record for Division III schools. Williams College also provides the answer to this week's trivia question. As a reminder, this week's question was, how many Academy Award winners attended Williams College? The answer is 4. The Academy Award winners that attended Williams College are screenwriter Charles William Brackett, writer and director Elia Kazan, documentarian Frederick Wiseman, and most recently, songwriter Kristen Anderson Lopez. Williams has a long list of people who have made an impact in arts, politics, entertainment, and even regular life today. That ends this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. You can watch this week's episode on channel 1301 of PCTV, CTSB TV, and NBC-TC. Airtimes on all three of these networks vary. Visit the websites shown here for more information. Also, if you would like to see the episodes in HD quality, make sure to check out my YouTube page at RT Wehry. Thank you.